kept on making forward runs to try and break Man City's offside line. That's what they're going to be looking to do today.
Yes, the wide player on the right is Ahmad and not Garnacho, who scored the opening goal and played a big part. He's on the bench. And there's Guardiola, who did play in the Euros but went out at the group stage. So he and Kovacic were early returnees. They did go to America, but there's a whole raft of players who are involved who didn't, including Kevin De Bruyne is on the bench, and Bernardo Silva, who's 30 years old today. We might see him later on.
I think at times we might see Manchester United go to a back three with Dalot pushing forward down the right-hand side. Martinez just tucking in as a third centre-half. He's playing at left-back at the moment, the Argentinian.
And Johnny Evans alongside Harry Maguire. Johnny Evans, who played for Manchester United in the Community Shield in 2009. Of course, as you all well know, back for a second spell. In between, of course, winning the FA Cup in this very ground with Leicester City. So what for Harry Maguire? Again, talk about transfers. Varane has gone, of course, who played in the cup final. Amrabat, who was on loan, hasn't come back, although there's talk that might still happen. As for Manchester City, of course, you all know about Julian Alvarez and his projected move to Spain. He's been playing in the Olympics, so even if he was still to be involved with City, he certainly wouldn't be here today. Casemiro, who wasn't on the team sheet in the end, he was on the original team sheet for the cup final, but felt a twinge in the warm-up and stepped aside. He was only a substitute. And he's very much the one who can drop in if you're talking about a three, Stuart. That's another way of doing it, isn't it, I guess, with Casemiro between Maguire and Evans.
Yeah, that big game against Coventry City in the semi-final here, he played as the right-sided centre-back. And he got on the ball and made some good passes. Defensively, he wasn't quite so strong. Saw him a couple of times in pre-season where, I have to say, people ran past him a little bit too easily on one or two occasions.
Of course, Erik ten Hag has rearranged the backroom staff, including hiring Ruud van Nistelrooy, who scored 150 goals for Manchester United. The first of which was in, I think it might have still been the Charity Shield then, or it was certainly about to change to the Community Shield when the charitable status was questioned. Lewis. Fernandes. And through the middle there was Mason Mount, who had a season to forget, really. He did come on the last few seconds of the cup final to get a winner's medal, having lost 3 in a row with Chelsea. Jared Gillett is the referee. That's a late change. He upgraded from 4th official when the original choice, John Brooks, had to pull out with an injury. Yeah, they do get injured as well, refs. They do run around. Here's the talented and versatile Rico Lewis. No Kyle Walker today, or John Stones, or Phil Foden, or indeed Rodri, all finalists, of course, in Euro 2024, but that hasn't put off Kobbie Mainoo. Obviously couldn't resist the chance to play at Wembley again, and young enough, 19, still fit enough.
You talked about Mason Mount playing through the middle. Both him and Bruno Fernandes are playing almost in a, I think they call it a box midfield. There's Mainoo and Casemiro behind them, and Fernandes and Mount will play as a withdrawn pair of centre forwards.
Yes, and Ahmed on the right, Rashford on the left. It's another pairing, really. It is sort of sometimes shown as 4-2-2-2. Here's a Kanji. And now Oscar Bob had a very good tour. You were over there, Stuart, in the States, and probably saw some of his skills and promise.
Absolutely. Plays wide on this right-hand side. He went past people, both coming infield or going down the outside. He had a good end product as well. He's an outstanding player, no doubt about it, Oscar Bob.
And Nico O'Reilly also made great strides. He's a tall man with literally great striding power, but he scored in a game against Barcelona, I think, in the States.
Yeah, he did. He's a player that likes to make forward runs from midfield. He's playing slightly deeper today alongside Kovacic.
And Doku coming infield.
Mason Mount closing down quickly. Was an excellent player at Chelsea. He didn't really show that sort of form since he's been at Manchester United. That's because he's had 1 or 2 injuries as well.
Gallo challenged.
Rico Lewis, as he so often will do when he plays at right back, comes into midfield.
From Leo with the gesturing. Very much a man who has the ear of Pep Guardiola. Nice break by Bob. O'Reilly wants it back again from Haaland. Just blocked off, fairly enough it seemed. And here's Rashford, who has a big season ahead, you feel. He's had a lot of support from within the Manchester United group. He's had some lows as well as obviously plenty of highs. He was involved the last time that Manchester United won the Shield back in 2016. Been around a while, still only 26.
And that's the pass that Manchester United will be looking for. He made his run as soon as the ball went to Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, without looking, played it in behind Rico Lewis. And that's what caused Manchester City so many problems in that FA Cup final. Balls played in behind their back four, or their back line.
James McAtee, who's back from a loan spell at Sheffield United. He got plenty of Premier League experience there last season. Whether he'll go out on loan again, we'll have to wait and see. Challenged by Rashford. It's a corner. Slightly risky.
They've got a good understanding down this near side, Oscar Bob and Rico Lewis. Rashford's going to have to do a bit of defending as well at times.
Oscar Bob. He could go short corner, but he puts it in. And Onana was not tempted to come for it. It was pretty flat and pacey.
I think Diaz is the player closest to it. He makes a good run to that near post. Casemiro did well.
Right on Andre Onana. It's coming in that area again, just a little nick from friend or foe. Could be the opening goal of the Community Shield. Quite in the right spot, the delivery. Lewis across to try and tidy up. Might just have got away with that.
Does he give him a little nudge here? No, it's the arm around the neck that the referee didn't like.
Just took the edge off the end of Manchester City's astonishing history-making season, winning the league title for 4th time in a row. They won their last 9 Premier League games, all by a margin of 2 goals or more. And it was, with the great respect to Manchester United, a real turn up for the books that they left with the FA Cup, and City left empty-handed. Gvardiol. Versatile Akanji. He can step in and play in that midfield role that we've seen John Stones do for City, and others as well, even Kyle Walker from time to time. And of course Lewis is prime for it, really. He probably prefers playing midfield. Rene Hakke is the man to the left on the screen, another of the new coaches from the Netherlands. And Ruud van Nistelrooy just out of your picture on the right-hand side. David Gill is here, still with Manchester United very much in his heart. Well, Johnny Evans giving that heart a bit of a flutter, I think. And he's conceded a corner under pressure from O'Reilly. You're right what you said, Stuart, about him. He likes to play as an attacking midfield player. And he's having to do a bit of a holding job, but he's got plenty of to offer when the player's further forward if he can be involved. From Manchester.
In the first game I saw on the USA tour, he played very much, making runs through the inside left position. He was sometimes their furthest forward player. On other occasions he'd be another holding midfield player, so he's versatile.
Here's the star of that tour, Oscar Bob. O'Reilly couldn't quite master it in time, but to his credit, he's gone and got it back again. Here is McAtee. The biggest compliment you get from Pep Guardiola as a young player is, yes, he can help us. And he said that about O'Reilly recently. McAtee is putting a bit too much bend on it, away from Doku and beyond.
One of the things that Pep Guardiola does so often is he gets players to play in strange positions to create a 2v1. At the moment he's doing that with McAtee, who's been playing wide. There's the ability of Oscar Bob to go past people. Well, he does chop and it's a really good bit of skill from him. He can change direction, he's got that little bit of pace. And he's got a good end product as well, in the main.
A couple of times he's given Rashford a problem with his defensive work. As you mentioned quite rightly a couple of minutes ago, he'll be challenged in that respect with the Lewis-Bob combination. Evans. Mainu, of course, got the decisive goal. It wasn't the winning goal at the time, but when Doku made it 2-1, it was the one that decided the FA Cup was going to Old Trafford. And he didn't just stop there, did he? He went into the Euros as a backup player, then the experiment with Alexander-Arnold didn't quite work out. Conor Gallagher had a go, and then it was Kobbie Mainoo. And he stopped the game, Jared Gillett, more maybe through an injury than a foul.
Well, I think the ball here from Martinez is a bit short, and does Maguire stop the run of Haaland? That's what he was trying to do. I don't think Haaland saw Maguire. Might have been a clash of... So Maguire just stops the run. He actually tries to block off Haaland. Haaland didn't do anything wrong. If anything, the player that made the mistake was Maguire, but he's okay.
Not got a Wembley goal to his name yet, Erling Haaland. Unlike Harry Maguire. But he's certainly given Manchester United plenty of grief in his couple of seasons with City.
He's had his rest.
Yes.
Norway not in the European Championships.
He made a comment when you were out in the States, you might have heard it, Stuart, that with the talk of this expanded FIFA Club World Cup happening also in the USA next summer, that 70 games could be a possibility, and that might be too much. He might get tired. To which Pep Guardiola at the next press conference was asked about that, and he said, well, Haaland can go to bed earlier. Tiredness is an excuse, which I think probably said more about Pep Guardiola's desire to win the Club World Cup. He doesn't want anyone ducking out for that kind of reason. But I like that. It's a winner's statement. I'm sure the players' unions, the PFA, FIFPro, they all have a case about arguing for too many games. They're trying to get the competition stopped, aren't they? With some support from leagues around the globe. But the elite players, we do ask a lot of them. And they entertain us so royally. I think we've got to be a little bit sympathetic, maybe slightly more sympathetic than Pep, but only slightly. Here's Lisandro Martinez from the Copa America. Successful time. Evans. Now Casemiro. His Brazil days perhaps are behind him. There's no extra time, incidentally. It goes straight to a penalty shootout. There was a time where, if it was level after 90 minutes, the shield was shared. 6 months in each of the two competing clubs. In fact, Manchester United's 21 wins in the shield include 4 where they had a 6-month hold on the trophy. Oscar Bob. Akanji. Ruben Dias. Portugal again just coming up a bit short in a major tournament. And Doku, same about Belgium really. Jeremy Doku full of life here, very much full of life. And just got away from over Mainoo's head, and it looked as though it was going to be lined up for O'Reilly, who was in the box. It's too high for him as well.
Well, there you've just seen what Doku gives you down that left-hand side. Brilliant bit of play from him. Go past the first challenge, went past Maguire. Looked to be a good cutback. I'd like to see it again, whether O'Reilly ducked out the way of it.
Doku starting. Jack Grealish, we were told by Pep Guardiola when City arrived here, not fit for purpose for today. Two late challenges going in, but referee Gillett keeping the game going. The City still have possession. Evans can see it out.
Yeah, a couple of strong challenges. Here's his bit of skill, little nutmeg on Dalot. And then when he got to Maguire, went past him. There's the cutback. Probably just out of reach of O'Reilly. Might have had a dive at it. It's going to be a good battle on that far side of the field. I thought Dalot had a good season last year, one of Manchester United's more consistent players.
Yes, he often found himself playing on the left as well. Luke Shaw was out for a long time. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, they sort of double-teamed it really, didn't they? Sometimes Wan-Bissaka you'd find on the left. He's not involved today.
I think it sometimes was decided by who was playing for the opposition out wide, who played on the left, who played on the right, between Dalot and Wan-Bissaka.
Luke Shaw hadn't played for Manchester United since February when he made his England comeback, and ended up playing in a second consecutive Euro final, having scored here, of course, in Euro 2020, played in 2021. There's been talk about Ederson's future as to whether he might be eyeing pastures new. Ortega is the backup goalkeeper who did play, of course, in the cup final. Has been the cup goalkeeper, really. He signed a new 2-year deal. Picking up some good space in wide position, McAtee. Kovacic. Very much a general in midfield, particularly in the absence of Rodri here today. Ruben Dias, Gvardiol. Not too much work so far for either keeper. That might change here in the shape of Onana. Can't quite reach it. Haaland does. Didn't get much on his attempt to turn it back across the face of the goal.
That's why Pep Guardiola sometimes gets his right back, or a lot of the time gets his right back to come in field. He found space in behind Manchester United midfield, just kept on going. Martinez needed to be a lot narrower there, and Haaland couldn't really get the power in his effort. Good play from Rico Lewis.
He's coming down this side again from his partner in crime, so to speak, Oscar Bob. But it was 2 against 1, and the one with the ball kept going, and we nearly opened up to give City the opening goal here. Pressing with some menace again with Bob, who loves to get it onto his left foot and shoot. And that's your inverted wide man, present at so many clubs these days. You don't get the crosses for the likes of Haaland in the air, but you do get potential for goals off the flank.
And he goes past Martinez really easily there. You didn't quite see it from that replay. Then goes past Evans, who slips. But once he got in that position, then he has to have the end product. That's a big, big chance, but good play from Oscar Bob. That's why he's applauding it.
They announced him as one of their own for the City fans. He's come through the ranks, of course. There's a Norwegian like Haaland. Not quite the same stature, his reputation, or as a human being. Pep Guardiola making reference to the size of Erling Haaland in terms of keeping him fit. They said Alvarez seemingly out the door. Who is going to fill in? They've been masters of the false 9, as it's called. But he's a real 9.
He hasn't really had too many touches so far in the game, which has been a theme really throughout pre-season. Hasn't touched the ball that much, but still keeps scoring goals.
Yeah, he scored actually in every game, but one of them wasn't given, was it? The ball was over the line with no goal line technology to back him up. He did get a hat-trick against Chelsea.
And the game you're talking about was in Yankee Stadium against Milan. I know you're a big baseball fan.
Well, certainly, I've covered it, believe it or not, a long time ago. The World Series. Well, here is a chance for McAtee, and he's hit the post. Opened up for him. Sloppy play from United. Closest we've come so far. And most of the players towards the goal on the right, that's just had a charmed moment.
Martinez and Johnny Evans getting a real mix-up there.
Akanji. Gvardiol, Doku setting off for the ball over the top, and it's beautifully delivered. Jeremy Doku still going, and in the end, barricades came up, applied by Dalot and Maguire, and United get a free kick.
You saw it early. Brilliant run from Doku, went short and then spun in behind, but here's the chance. Play out from the back. Martinez looks uncomfortable at left back, plays a poor pass to Johnny Evans, and then he tries to bend it round the goalkeeper. He's a bit unlucky, really. McAtee, does he get a touch at the defender? No, he doesn't. Doesn't quite get enough bend on it. And that was all about Manchester United not playing out from the back particularly well.
McAtee did have a couple of Premier League games a while back now. He's been mostly doing his development away from Manchester City in loan spells.
He's It's fair to say the Manchester United fans are getting a bit restless with their team playing out from the back, quite sloppily.
I would like to just raise one issue with you, Stuart, about what came out of Old Trafford during the summer, that the way of playing was to be determined by the sporting director and by other words not the manager. And at what point do we as broadcasters and observers, shall we say, at what point do we say, well, hang on a minute, we don't want shots of Erik ten Hag, we want shots of Jason Wilcox and Dan Ashworth? Are they going to take the responsibility?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
they're not out in the coaching field.
No. And it seems to be power without accountability if we don't ask those questions. And I only raise it because at the moment Manchester United haven't really slipped into the sort of rhythm that made them such a deserved FA Cup winners against City in May. Well, here's Rashford. There's an overload here. Ahmad won't quite make it count. Nice little nudge in behind City by Bruno Fernandes, typical of his work. Now Evans. United fans a bit more impressed by that little passage of play. Mount again in that striking position. He's always been a player who scored goals from midfield. Just lost his way in his last year with Chelsea and his first year in the northwest of England. But there's a lot more to come, I'm sure, in Manchester United red from Mason Mount.
I saw him destroy Real Madrid. Just hold on while the United have an attack here.
Allowed City to regroup. Fernandes blocked by O'Reilly. The header from McAtee. Made it somewhat awkward for Kovacic, but he solved the problem. And Ederson, who's such a great passer of the ball from the back, maybe better over the longer distance.
Just going back to Mason Mount, he was playing for Chelsea. He made some great runs against Real Madrid. There's Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I'm sure helping Mason Mount with his finishing. What a goal scorer he was. Haaland trying to bustle his way into some sort of City possession. And now's a break. Mostly they've been dictating against the low block, and their chance to counter-attack is nipped in the bud by Bruno Fernandes. Rashford. Now Dalot. Ahmad drifting through. He wasn't quite in control, you felt, of the final departure from the ball. A bit of a stab across the face of the goal, but the dribbling was fine.
Certainly was. United City defenders got a bit square there against each other, and he came inside of Doku. He's trying to bend it into that far corner. As you said, I think the ball was stuck under his feet a bit too much. He hadn't scored that really important goal, didn't he, against Liverpool?
Took his shirt off and then got sent off, but it still did the trick. Well, we did point out that Pep Guardiola in a suit for the FA Cup final didn't, after a period of wearing a lucky sweater, it didn't work out from the suit's gone. I'm not sure this is the attire that was worn through the latter stages of that wonderful league run. Finch, 4 in a row. Could they possibly make it 5 in a row? It'd be astonishing.
See, that's where I think Haaland has to do a lot better. There was so much space for Ederson to hit the ball into him, and he's trying to hold off Evans. Evans can't get in front, but he still lost control of the ball twice. If teams want to press Man City and there's space for him to get the ball into his feet, he's got to do better. That's where he was disappointing last year for me.
Well, Haaland has had the summer off.
There was an exception to that when he played superbly against Luton, when they tried to go man for man with him, and the ball kept on being played into him, and he turned, he held it up, scored his, I think, 5 goals on the night.
He did.
He looked like the world-class player that everybody says he is.
Well, you have to pick, if you had to pick one player to settle this game either way, he would be #1 pick, wouldn't he? Simply on reputation, top scorer in the Premier League in his 2 seasons in England, the first 2 seasons, first player to do that. Doku's had 1 or 2 good moments. Slides it in towards Haaland. The sliding to get to the ball was the Ulsterman Evans.
There was another example, I thought, good play from Doku. Who was expecting it more, Haaland or Evans? On that occasion, it was Evans.
Here comes Amad Diallo again. Mounts in the middle. Casemiro, Amad. Oh, 1 pass. Maybe 1 pass too many to give Mount a tap in. But City were cut to ribbons.
Brilliant by him up until the final pass. Played a brilliant one too. I think it was Casemiro that played the ball back into him. But Gvardiol and Doku have got a slight problem. They're getting square with each other at times, and he's going in between the two. And that's what happens when you can actually try and create a 2v1 defensively. Neither one really does the job properly.
Well, a big chance at either end as the game settles into its rhythm. And a number of players just trying to remember what it's like to play a competitive game of football. Here's Evans, who has been ill and affected his appearances at the end of the US tour. Onana. Pressing done by Amad, who's suddenly emerged. Hard for the attacking United players at the beginning of this game, but now he's become the major threat.
So Gvardiol went with the runner. Nobody went with Amad Diallo as he played the little 1-2. Casemiro, it was with the reverse pass, and he just puts too much on it.
Everything but. Akanji.
They've overhit that ball a couple of times, and what McAtee is trying to do is run between Maguire and Dalot to take them back, so the ball is easy to play out to Doku on that left-hand side.
He's a little bit concerned. Here's Rashford. The best spell for Manchester United so far in the Community Shield. And shot by Bruno Fernandes, and it's fumbled by Ederson. He might have been distracted by the fact that Ruben Dias was staggering back on his heels, and the skipper today has dropped to his haunches.
Yeah, this is hit with great power by Bruno Fernandes. As you said, he just shaking a bit there, but not good goalkeeping.
See the announcement that there will be unlimited concussion subs now, but one hopes that that's not abused by the medical authorities. I don't think it will be. The players have to be told that if the concussion comes with a recovery period that's defined, so if it's not concussion, then you feign it, then you're probably going to miss football that you wouldn't miss if you behaved a little bit more properly. But the original concussion substitutions wasn't abused, I don't think. I didn't see it anywhere. We saw quite a few, Stuart, didn't we?
But it's to be taken very seriously.
It does.
As you said, a good spell for Manchester United. Got themselves back into the game here with that big chance for Diallo.
Nicked back for United by Mainoo. Evans. Mainoo there first. Gets it back again. Martinez. And here's Mount. Hello goes on the outside of Ahmad. They're trying to feed now, understandably, Manchester United. Fernandes. Casemiro. Nice piece of play there. Lovely play. Rashford's put it wide. Deserves a goal. One touch.
Oh, this is the last bit of play. It started with the goalkeeper. Switch of play from Mason Mount. Good 1- and 2-touch football round the box. Last pass is a good one. The finish isn't. It's ideally set up for him on his right foot. Doesn't get it right, does he? But that was really good play from Manchester United.
Well, it's been here is Lee Carsley, the interim England head coach. Former combative midfield player. Republic of Ireland international, though he is English born. And he's the logical man to step into the gap caused by Gareth Southgate's resignation until a permanent appointment is decided upon. Of course, Gareth Southgate, if you remember, was an interim appointment.
Came from the under-21s.
Yeah, and he has won a tournament with the under-21s. His credentials are good. Fernandes. They're getting the chance to play those passes. He didn't get it right that time. Amad Diallo's 22 now. He's had some loans. A good one at Sunderland.
Yeah, that's where he first really came to the fore, didn't he, at Sunderland, when he had some very good performances in the Championship.
International for the Ivory Coast.
He's got all the attributes. He's pacey, he can go past people.
In a way, it's quite a simple game that he plays, isn't it? He's got the option to run at people, play the quick passes, as we've seen in that extraordinary finale to the cup tie against Liverpool at Old Trafford last season. He's got an eye for a goal and a piece of history as well. And he'll be giving Garnacho food for thought. He's on the bench today. And it's been down the right for both teams, really, that have played their most penetrative football, although that's a bit unfair on Doku, who's had 2 or 3 really threatening moments on the City left. Lewis. Now Haaland comes short. Lays it off to O'Reilly.
That was better hold-up play from Erling Haaland. Good first touch, laid the ball off. It's not his best 45 minutes or 39 minutes. Nico O'Reilly.
It's almost as tall as Erling Haaland, actually. Involved in the games on the tour, but this is the first one that goes down as an official appearance. Here's Doku. Now Guardiola. City trying to reimpose themselves on the game. And here's McAtee. Lewis has done well, and United just about kept that from reaching the man in the middle, who was Oscar Bobb.
Slight injury here.
Which, of course, has been the bane of Manchester United last season. And a couple of casualties on the tour, Stuart, weren't they, as well?
Here's the moment. Nico Lewis goes past his man, tries to cut it back. Maguire in the right place. Certainly wasn't handball.
Casemiro being checked out.
I think it's fair to say that Casemiro for 2 or 3 years was the best holding midfield player in world football. And he was all conquering with Real Madrid. Modric one side of him, Toni Kroos the other. Kroos, who's now retired. And I saw a lot of this during the USA tour. Pep Guardiola, even though they were friendly matches, wasn't always happy with what he was seeing.
There was one incident in a game where Guardiola, I think it was, passed the ball out of play unnecessarily. Pep went back into the dugout and slammed his fist against the side of the dugout. Do you remember that?
I do.
And I thought, you know, there are no easy passes.
No, he demands a lot from his players. He demands a lot from his team. Doesn't matter whether it's a pre-season friendly or a Champions League Cup final.
Yeah, I thought the remark about Erling Haaland's fatigue as well was in that bracket, really, in that envelope. Three minutes plus added time. They tend not to add on too long in this curtain raiser. And it was interesting in the Euros, Stuart, wasn't it, that compared to the World Cup, where massive double-figure numbers were added on, there's a far more pragmatic approach from the officials. In fact, England were a bit disappointed that the 4 minutes of added time in the final, at the end of the second half, was exactly 4 minutes.
I think it's right, though. Last season we did see games go on for far too long.
Wakanji, Mount intercepts, Diaz is there, but he's not played a great ball either. And, in the end, some driving play by Mateo Kovacic gets them where they wanted to be and look like not getting there. Here's Doku with the shot. It's slightly wrong-footed, Onana. Remember, the goal was at the other end of Wembley, but it went into the goalkeeper's right. And it was just wide of the target this time.
Good play by Doku, also good play from Kovacic. Yeah, it does take a slight deflection. Off Mangello, off his calf, I think. Very slight. But he's trying to bend it into that near post, and Onana, as you quite rightly said, was wrong-footed there. Good play from Kovacic, driving past Bruno Fernandes.
It's been a game not quite played in top gear. You wouldn't expect that. It's never really been the case about the Shield and its timing and the calendar. But both Manchester clubs have had periods of play to remind us how much we've got to look forward to, not just from them, but the return of the Premier League, and indeed in the Football League as well, which is underway last night. Games being played today. Here's Bruno Fernandes late in the first half. And, just asked a bit too much of Kobbie Mainoo. Wasn't very pleased with himself then, I don't think. He apologises.
Yeah, he could have done a lot better than that. Just needed a side football back into the 6-yard box. Doesn't seem that long ago he was playing in the FA Youth Cup final along with Garnacho against Nottingham Forest. A competition that United won.
We continue to have A production line that is to the envy of many. At a time when the production of young players through the academy system is being challenged by some clubs who just see them as a profitable enterprise, fatten them up and sell them on.
There again you saw McAtee go out to that left-hand side, although he's sort of mainly playing in the number 10 role. He's drifting out to make a 2v1 in the wide areas. And when he closes the ball down, he becomes a second centre forward with Erling Haaland.
Just well into the 2 added minutes. What are your thoughts, Stu?
Well, I thought Man City for maybe that first half an hour looked fairly dominant. The wide players were being dangerous. They controlled midfield. Man United would cause themselves 1 or 2 problems playing out from the back, playing sloppily, playing too slowly. But the last 15 minutes or so, we've seen Manchester United at their best. They played some decent forward-thinking football, good 1 and 2 touch play. Missed a couple of big chances, particularly that one from Giello. So it's been a good first half.
Well, the hard taskmaster will have his say very shortly. What it has produced is a half with very recognisable players, where all the talk in the week was, well, he won't be fit, he won't be, he's not back. And only the very late arrivals back from training or back from playing in the Euros are the ones not involved at all. And we could see some famous City faces coming on in the second half, particularly if United were to score. But we have reached half-time without a goal. A couple of good opportunities at either end. James McAtee hitting a post. Doku had his moments cutting in. Not lost a domestic game in 2024 until United came here and beat them on May the 25th. After a rather cloudy morning, the sun is out. And here's Haaland trying to knock it down and going again. Right foot.
What a kick that is from Ederson. He was just on the edge of his own penalty box. He almost hits it to the edge of the other penalty box. Haaland backing in.
Yeah, his radar was a bit off by his standards in the first half. Stefan Ortega still the number 2, and Scott Carson, a real veteran, still on the staff, and he's actually named on the team sheet as a third goalkeeper should they require. Lovely take by Fernandez. Red shirts arriving in the middle. Well, trying to pick up where they left off at the end of the first half, Manchester United, with Marcus Rashford getting into his stride on the far side.
I wonder if he took one turn too many here. Now can he get across it? Tries to go back, trying to go back again. And eventually, City got enough players around him. But there's the threat of Rashford, got so much pace. He was in a 1v1 against Akanji. Another player who had a very good European Championship, Akanji for Switzerland.
Yeah, they certainly gave England a good game on that rather bumpy road to the final that Gareth Southgate's side did negotiate. Here's Doku. McAtee rather running into his space. Doku has to go back. And Guardiola finished last season with an excellent series of games at left back, then made a mistake in the final. And Ortega getting in a tangle, and Garnacho punishing them. Lewis. Guardiola. Ruben Dias made to just scamper a little bit by Akanji. Ederson goes short this time. Manchester United press. And force an error. Evans trying to get it into Mount. Johnny Evans still going. He's in the centre-forward position at the moment. If a cross would come in. Not many crosses come in because of the inverted nature of the wide players these days. Rashford very right-footed on the left. Ahmad is more likely to cross it from his stronger side, from the wide position.
And it is a slight surprise with the way the rules are there, the laws of the game. VAR giving penalties for handball whenever it does usually hit the player on the arm. I'm surprised that more teams don't get crosses into the box. Saw the amount of goals in the European Championships that were scored from crosses and headers.
Yeah, despite the absence of what you might call conventional central strikers. One of them, Germany's Füllkrug, has come to the Premier League. He signed for West Ham. He'll be expecting crosses to come in at the London Stadium. Second half starting in similar vein to the first. A few minutes for Manchester City to get that early grip on proceedings. Here's O'Reilly. Touch just allowed Martinez to get in, but here's McAtee, who's hit the post, remember, in the first half. And they had to think about that, Jared Gillett, before he penalised Ruben Dias.
Yeah, the ball was played in between the two players by Casemiro. Well, it's a foul, there's no doubt about it. Diaz catches, he can point to the ball all he likes. He calls his man there, Mason Mount, just stepped across him.
And Ruben Dias doesn't have the happiest memories of the Community Shield. 2 years ago he gave away a penalty and they lost to Liverpool 3-1. A game that was played at Leicester. And first sighting of Savinho.
Had a very good season at Girona, on loan at Girona last year. One of the clubs affiliated with Manchester City.
Which we thought might cause a problem in the Champions League, with both clubs qualifying for it, but any potential wrinkles seem to have been ironed out by UEFA. Savinho bought actually from the French club Troyes. 9 goals and 10 assists for Girona, and he made the select 11 for La Liga at the end of last season. Here's Haaland, McAtee, Doku. The potential here for City. Doku stopped by Casemiro. Nice turn by Bruno Fernandes. And it wasn't quite angled enough for Rashford.
Sorry, Martin, that was the Casemiro of old. Getting in behind his fullback, doing a really good defensive job for Manchester United. Doku came inside, wanted to get his shot away, and he just ran into Casemiro.
Kanji sizing up the situation. Almost as if City are trying to draw United into a press to play past them, but Erik ten Hag's team weren't having that. There's no doubt there's a a greater edge because it's the derby. And all the good work for the red side of Manchester in May. They want to blow it all with a lacklustre performance here. City looking for, it might be builders' revenge. It won't quite make up for the disappointment. Flag has stayed down as it's expected to do, and Bruno Fernandes puts it in the back of the net, and the flag doesn't go up. He has a look, and now it goes up. I think he thought he was offside, but it was well, one from Fernandes' own personal playbook. He does that so beautifully.
Well, I'm right in line with it, and as soon as the ball was played, I stuck my arm. It's a tight one, but he was offside. Just made his run a fraction too early. The Man City centre-halves stood their ground. It's a lovely finish, of course it is, but that looked offside as soon as the ball was played. Ederson couldn't get near it.
Of course, it will be checked. That's the reason the flag stays down, in case the system got it wrong. Fernandes got it absolutely right, but the way he looked across Stuart as soon as the ball went in the net, and by that point the flag hadn't gone up. But that's the way it works. To stop the situation where if the assistant had flagged, which he would have done in the bygone times, and he got it wrong, the goal wouldn't have counted. The game would have been stopped.
And I think it was tight enough for the assistant referee not to put his flag up.
Yeah.
It's a good decision by him. He knew it, well, he thought it was offside. He went back and put his flag up from where the offside actually occurred.
And of course, had he flagged offside and the referee not stopped the game, again, would have helped the attacker if the offside decision was wrong. But it was clearly right, and certainly a memorable moment. But it hasn't changed the scoreline. Now City break, runners either side of O'Reilly. Haaland trying to get it back to the youngster, and then speculative from McAtee.
Good break from O'Reilly here, driving forward. I don't think it's a bad ball that he plays to Erling Haaland. Could he have shot then? He probably could have done, then stumbled. It's a poor pass from Haaland. They're the sort of areas where I think he has to do a lot better. McAtee with a really wasteful shot in the end. And that's the problem. If you don't get many touches in the game, like Erling Haaland doesn't at the moment, when you do find it eventually comes to you, can be a little bit rusty.
It's a little bit loose from Casemiro. Seized upon by Kovacic. Doku. Around Dalot, who played the ball in the mind of the referee. And now there is a counter-attack potential for United. Fernandes. Chance for Ahmad to show his qualities again. Slide it in. It's good work by O'Reilly. Clear City's lines. Ahmad once more. Oh, thoughtful from Fernandes, caused problem. The early ball, that's perhaps one thing in football that maybe goes out of the game from time to time. So obsessed with the passing game, but stick it in there, make him think.
He's a bit unlucky really, because the two players that were in there had to come back from an offside position as Man City squeezed out. That's why it looks as though Casemiro and Mason Mount haven't made an effort, but actually were trying to get back on side as he played the ball in.
Clever ball. It's led to a corner. It's past the 10-minute mark in the second half. 0-0 between the two Manchester clubs. Good bend on it. And Maguire was up. Mount. Maguire again. And then the flag is raised.
Maguire arguing who the offside was against. Make some changes here. Manchester United, 4 of them.
This was obviously on the agenda, whatever probably the score Scott McTominay is coming on. And Facundo Pellistri, the Uruguayan, back from the Copa America.
Number 37, Kobbie Mainoo. Replaced by number 43,
There's a match to check who goes off as who comes on. Mason Mount, that's part of an hour, having played on the tour. He might have thought for longer than that. Toby Collier and Alessandro Garnacho.
Number 7, Mason Mount. Replaced by
Toby Collier's a midfield player.
And finally, number 16, Abbas, being replaced by number 17, Alejandro Garnacho.
While Manchester United are reorganising, City going to take advantage. Collier. Garnacho has come over to this near side in place of Ahmad. Pellistri did play in the Copa America for Uruguay. Martinez and Evans as a 2. Dalot looks as though he's gone in front of them.
He almost looks as though he's playing as a right wing back on this side of the field.
Yeah. Here's Garnacho. What we have got is Rashford through the middle. He's waiting for a cross here. And now they're trying to press, and this is what the trap the City really have been looking to set, but they can't get the ball forward quickly enough. And Erling Haaland is a solitary figure in the centre circle again. Diaz. McAtee. I don't know it as a fact, Stuart, but I would suggest that Pep Guardiola makes fewer substitutes in the Premier League than any rival manager.
Yeah, I think it's quite often that managers make changes just because they've got the substitutes there to make the changes with. Sometimes you don't need to affect the game. Just carry on doing what you're doing. Pellistri is actually playing as the right back. Dalot's gone to left back, and Martinez is playing alongside Johnny Evans.
Here's Doku. Back to Gvardiol. Doku again. Test for Pellistri, he's not really up to it. McAtee. Tee up Lewis. Gvardiol has a crack, and it's a decent one. Onana looked, I think he knew it was going wide, but a bit too close for comfort, I would suggest.
I've seen him score 1 or 2 good goals last year. On his right foot, this one, his weaker foot, trying to bend it into that far corner. As you can see by the flight of the ball, it doesn't really get much bend on it, does it?
There's going to be some City changes, a couple of them.
Collier is playing alongside Casemiro at the moment in that midfield area. He's taking the place of Mainoo.
O'Reilly is coming off. Mateus Nunes Portuguese international.
Manchester City's substitutions. Number 75, Nico
In the
Roy.
Portugal squad in the Euros.
By number 27,
And
Matheus Nunes.
it is what the City fans have
And number 11,
come here to see.
Doku.
The debut of Savinho.
Savinho.
Thought now that they will splash some cash in the attacking side of the transfer market again, with Alvarez out of the door.
Well, that's a big telltale sign. He ran all the way across the field and almost stood on the left wing when the ball's out on that far side. He's going to give them width out here. As I said, I saw him play for Girona quite a bit last season. He wasn't entirely consistent, but on his day, he was exceptional.
Would you have seen him as a Manchester City signing then, Stu?
No, not to start with, because he often made the wrong decision, when to cross the ball, when to shoot, when to play a little pass. All the things that Pep Guardiola gets annoyed about.
What he does like is full width from his players, and Savinho, I think, has been briefed in that respect, as you pointed out. Here goes Haaland. He does get there first against Evans. Backed up by Bob. And here is Savinho. What sort of contribution can he make? It's a lovely first-time ball by Bruno Fernandes to Garnacho. Fernandes offering himself for the pass back. He's got it. And now he looks for McTominay, who's a big man and a scorer of big goals in big games.
Well, Nunez did well there to get back. McTominay didn't take a touch here. I think he's trying to let it run across onto his right foot, but Nunez had enough pace to get back. He actually lets it run away from the goal. Maybe it would have been better taking a touch into the space across the defender.
Manchester in the melting pot here. Nunez. Savinho. He's done very well indeed, Nunez. He came on with him. Nice combination, corner City.
It just opened up for him, didn't it? Savinho. Lovely reverse pass out to Nunez. He tried to whip the crowd up, as so many players do when they join a new club.
Back by Ruben Diaz. Bob. It's a lovely cross over Haaland. Savinho was coming in, reclaimed by McAtee. Ooh, and he's not quite sold. Kovacic short. He may have got himself a free kick for the token challenge by Garnacho.
He probably did well there, Kovacic, trying to lift the ball over the challenge and seeing the ball go out of play. He might have thrown himself to the ground a bit readily.
Savinho has done well. Haaland was a bit back on his heels as if he was surprised that came in. Garnacho.
Haaland might want to give Dovbyk a ring if he's got his telephone number. Dovbyk, who played for Girona last year, scored so many goals
Yeah.
from crosses coming into the box.
And he's now left Girona, hasn't he?
Yep.
Maybe because Savinho left. Dominic impeded by Nunez. Going to get booked for that. Signing from Wolves last year.
I think it's fair to say he didn't really have an impact at Man City when he signed. Got further away from the team as the season went on.
No, but when he signed for Wolves, there was always that sort of reading between the lines, thought that he was going to Manchester City. Whether there was some possible financial reason why it couldn't happen directly. United give it away, and Kovacic likewise. Both sides are giving it away in the desire to succeed here. Hurrying proceedings, a bit too urgent, a bit too desperate, really. Relax, relax would be the message from the dugouts, I think. Just past the three-quarter mark of the 90. And if it stays level, to remind you again, a penalty shootout will follow. There will be no extra time. Seen as too much of a workload this early in the season. Rightly so. Casemiro's ball, and Bruno Fernandes has taken it superbly. Lovely play from two real quality performers.
Well, Casemiro with the ball over the top, first time round the corner, brilliant. The run from Bruno Fernandes was good, but maybe he missed out on a pass for Rashford on the other side.
Going on, the substitutes again, striking up an understanding on the City left.
Here's the slight challenge, Martinez. It's a fair one, no doubt about that. Here's the ball over the top. Timing of the run is perfect. Two centre-halves are facing down the pitch. The Man City. Casemiro saw the opportunity, but there you see Rashford was ahead of Rico Lewis on the other side.
City corner. And again. They've got height. Kanji, Haaland. They've also got a bit of an injury problem here. To Ruben Dias. It's making them work hard, the players who've just come back into the fold. Defend it well, United. To the delight of Andreas Bjorksen, who is the set-piece coach. That is defensively as well as attacking.
Guardiola that took a whack to the head.
His head is buzzing with thoughts of what can he do to win this. Toby Collier getting some touchline advice from Erik ten Hag.
The supporters have turned up in their numbers again. Good attendance here, good atmosphere.
And a good contest, which is going to go to the wire, I think. Bob. He's done well with Lewis. And again, McAtee coming in. Not a foul. Garnacho's upfield. He might have just started in his own half, but he's not going to get there.
Almost a brilliant pass by Casemiro there.
Lewis and Bob trying to conjure up something. The City again. Oh, for a moment I thought they had done. As Rico Lewis couldn't quite keep the ball in play. You know what's amazing, Stuart? It's the 194th Manchester derby, and in those games, Manchester United have scored 275 goals and Manchester City 273. So a 2-0 City win here, and all the figures down the years, and they will be level as scorers. It'll be a freak of statistics, but it's still 0-0. And the Dutch trio.
He went into international sort of management to start with. Ruud van Nistelrooy, his first job was assistant for the Dutch national team after the 2014 World Cup.
Remember when he came to England, he came and then suddenly had to put it off for a year. He got an injury at an unfortunate time, but he was worth the wait, I would suggest.
He ruptured his cruciate. Even a training session while he was with PSV.
Well, it went to penalties, of course, in the Shield last season, to Manchester City's considerable annoyance. They lost the shootout and they were winning the game for much of it against Arsenal till Leandro Trossard grabbed an equaliser to send it to penalties.
If I remember rightly, Man City weren't very happy with the celebrations that Arsenal had.
Garnacho, they might not be too happy now. He's away for Rashford, a great chance. He's missed one now in each half. Marcus Rashford.
Well, it's fair to say Garnacho did everything right here. Lovely ball played round the corner by Fernandes. Garnacho plays it superbly. Does just bobble up slightly on his left foot, but it comes off his shin in the end rather than his boot. It's a poor miss by Marcus Rashford. Not sure it hits him. It's right off his ankle. That's why he misses it. Big chance.
Obviously wasn't in the Euro squad, and now it's another man with that power of selection. It hasn't helped though. Scored half a dozen times for United against City. He might have been the youngest in a Manchester derby at 18 to do so. Tidied up by Akanji. Well, that was a classic Manchester United break, not just of the current crop, but down the years. They've won so much under Sir Alex Ferguson with that kind of counter-attacking. Go back to the days of Kanchelskis down the right-hand side.
In this second half, I've seen a performance of Casemiro that says that there's still some very good play in him, some good passing. He's made interceptions, he defended well.
There's Dalot now in midfield. Just when he wants a secure touch after the miss. It wasn't the easiest ball to control, but right in front of the manager, that might spell a change. 6 substitutes allowed per side. To be fair to say, Stuart, neither goalkeeper's really made a save of any great merit. The woodwork's been hit, chances have been missed, final ball's been lacking.
We've had some big chances, and as you said, can't remember a save by either goalkeeper of any sort of note. Offside given.
Against Savinho. He's only 20. He's already a Brazilian international. Well, whenever these two clubs meet, the television pitches are beamed all around the world. Everyone watching wondering whether there is going to be a goal or whether penalties will decide the destination of the 2024 Community Shield. Garnacho have a crack here. And it will be a corner. Never underestimate the power of the set piece.
He hit that very cleanly as well, Garnacho. That's got the Manchester United fans expectant here. Making a lot of noise to our right-hand side.
Yeah, both teams attacking the ends where their fans are. This is up the atmosphere in the second half. So the FA Cup winners with a corner against the champions. Plenty of height on it. Rashford heads it. Oh, and it's missed by McTominay. Goodness me. It's another. Again, the goalkeeper not required.
Well, I just wonder whether McTominay would have been offside had he made contact with it. Let's have another look. No, he was onside quite clearly. Probably goes with his wrong foot in the end. It's past him by the time he swings his right boot at it. It's a big chance. Manchester United, free header for Rashford.
And here he comes, the birthday boy. 30 today. Bernardo Silva. No better way to celebrate it than create a winning moment. Maybe even score the winning goal. He's got quite a decent record of goal getting against United, but usually at Old Trafford. But here he is. Brushing Haaland out of the way. Savinho on the move. Still Savinho. Here's Bob. Akanji. This is where you would think a forward like Haaland would have expected a cross, but he knows, he's back on his heels, he knows it isn't coming. That's not the way City play. Oh, chemistry a bit, I think got tight, too tight in the mind of referee Gillett. Akanji, kept Akanji and Diaz and Gvardiol at the back.
It's a back three without Walker that still looks slightly vulnerable to balls played in behind them. Akanji's quite quick. Not sure that can be said about Diaz and Gvardiol.
Got numbers forward here, Manchester United. Garnacho trying to win it. He might just have done that. Scored in the FA Cup final against Manchester City. And he scored here at a crucial time in the Community Shield.
The Manchester United goal scorer, number 17.
Well, what a great bit of play it is from Garnacho. We know he's got ability, but when the ball comes to him, yes, he's in a good position. It's all set up for him. They win the ball back. He's in space down this right-hand side. They back off. Diaz backs off. There's nobody challenging the ball. Gvardiol's recovered, but recovered too far. The next player can't get out, which is Akanji, and it's a brilliant finish back at the near post. He knew exactly what he was doing here. Good composure. No chance for Ederson.
Well, we talked about the back three. He took all of them on, all three of them.
That's because, to start with, Diaz didn't want to come confront him, so he backed off into the box and allowed him to get some pace up. Then Gvardiol recovered too far back as he was chasing, and then couldn't get back out to Garnacho, and Akanji, the last player, tried to come in and couldn't quite get there. Brilliant from him, though.
And Jadon Sancho has sneaked into the proceedings. He's been playing on the US tour back after his fallout with Erik ten Hag, and of course a very successful period. His last competitive football match was in this ground in the Champions League final for Dortmund against Real Madrid. And I think he was probably left out of the starting lineup today because the boys that were picked had played a big part in getting the FA Cup into United hands. And he'd gone, he left. He actually played the first 3 games of last season as a substitute, Stuart, and then the fallout happened. And it seemed he was history. But here he is, back in United red and back at Wembley.
Well, he got some of his confidence back, didn't he, at Dortmund, by getting them, helping them to get to the Champions League final, where they played very well. The Dortmund side that were way off winning the league in Germany.
Davino. United come again. McTominay had to time the run. He might have been onside. It didn't get there anyway, so we'll never know. Link up between Savinho and Guardiola, and then he tackles his teammate. I know it takes a while to get to know your players, but fellow blue shirt, and the ball has been kicked away here.
Well, the free kick had already been given. I don't think Garnacho heard the whistle. That's ridiculous from Bernardo Silva. Not sure how that's going to help matters.
That's not the birthday card he wanted.
No.
Well, not used to losing, but back-to-back Wembleys, back-to-back Manchester United. Even if you're Pep Guardiola, that takes a bit of living down. We're in the 86th minute. Guardiola. City trying to do to United what Arsenal did to them in this fixture last season. Casemiro just about made it to live up to your second half billing, Stu.
He's been excellent in the second half. Not just with his defensive play, but with his passing as well. He's made some good decisions.
16, 7, 8, 1, 4, 6. Thank you for your fantastic support.
Man City have lost their way in this second half, last 20 minutes or so. I think it's fair to say that Manchester City's team is nowhere near a full team, whereas United have got probably a stronger side out, but they won't care about that, Manchester United, at the moment.
Yes, from the cup final starters, as I mentioned at the start, the team that kicked off, there was only 3 of them. You can add Ederson, who possibly might have been that, although, as I said before, Ortega has been the cup goalkeeper. He wasn't fit. Foul by Casemiro. Lewis can't keep it in. They started the better side.
Well, Man City did start well. They were controlling the game. They had some good positions in the wide areas. But he's been a very frustrated figure in this second half.
It's a look of a man who's saying, why aren't they doing what I told them to do? Remember, Rashford has missed a couple of very good chances. Mount might have had a tap in if Ahmad had just rolled it, or Mount had been a bit more like in a poaching mood. McAtee hit the post. We haven't seen too much of Erling Haaland, who continues to be a bit of a pale imitation of himself in games at Wembley. Savinho, there's still time for City though, especially in the history of this fixture. Lewis. It's a lovely turn. And the header from the birthday boy, Bernardo Silva. There is a late twist in the tail. City not giving in here. It's 1-1 in the Shield, and Oscar Bob can turn away with pride.
Look at this bit of play from him. He's a left-footed player. He can come in field, but he can also go down the outside. It's a lovely ball into the box, and the header from Bernardo Silva gets across the front of Pellistri, who's playing as a right back. It's a good header. Onana can't get there. But what a good cross that is, on his weaker right foot into a good area. And Bernardo Silva, probably the smallest player, one of the smallest players on the field, just shows great determination to get across Pellistri. Brilliant from him.
Well, he's been sitting watching for most of the afternoon, and bursting, I would imagine, to get on, certainly by the way it's happened since he came on the foul, which was of a frustrated man. And now Kevin De Bruyne, I was going to say maybe with penalties in mind, but his penalty record isn't particularly good. And Nathan Ake. Guardiola is off. And Oscar Bob's last contribution was a telling one. There we go, 89.
Well, there's some people that say that the Community Shield is a friendly, but it's nothing of the sort. You can see how much it meant to Man City and to Manchester United when they scored their goals, the celebrations, the determination of City to get back into the game. This still means a lot for both these teams.
Casemiro. There's still time for United. Garnacho. Over away from Sancho. Bruno Fernandes, 5 added minutes. Casemiro was sneaking into the area there with danger in the air. First contribution for De Bruyne, and get it back to him. They have just squeezed past Pellistri. Well, the momentum in the last penalty shootout a year ago was with the team that had just equalised. Whether City might feel that's the case here, and the crestfallen Manchester United had played probably since 20 minutes in the first half as the better side. They got the goal eventually, and a very good goal it was. Now they've got De Bruyne probing at them, and City suddenly finding a moment to remind us they are champions. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times in a row. Like they thought he was fouled. It's a throw to...
I think he actually handled the ball before it went out of play. Ake, he wanted a foul, so he was going to pick the ball up. The referee said no foul, and the assistant waved his flag for handball.
Testing my memory here, but I think when Leicester beat them in the Community Shield, it was a penalty conceded by Nathan Ake. Kelechi Iheanacho, who's just moved on from the East Midlands, scored it. City, who were on the verge of losing a 4th Shield in a row. That could still happen, of course, with penalties or from this Bruno Fernandes free kick. It's not a very good one. A couple of minutes left. Onana lines it up. Sancho out on the left. There seems to be a peace has broken out between him and the manager. No real public utterances on the subject. He's a valuable asset to Manchester United, so even if they brought him back to move him on.
I'm sure there's still a bit of unease between the two.
Yeah.
They went through such a disagreement publicly.
And both stood their ground. Sancho was criticised publicly by his manager for not being in the squad. I think at Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For not training well enough. He took real exception to that. Here's Kovacic. Is this going to be a real Wembley turnaround here in favour of Manchester City? Savinho. Kovacic. Lewis. De Bruyne. No one quite getting across the near post. De Bruyne will be thinking, I did my bit. Whoever those in the middle just to tow it in.
Yeah, he didn't quite get enough bend on it. He's looking to play it along the 6-yard box.
Well, we're nearly in seconds now away from the goalkeepers coming into the real spotlight for the penalty shootout. De Bruyne, United giving it away. For all their wonderful achievements, Manchester City, one thing they haven't really been spot on is from the spot. Wasted a lot of penalties down the years, but it goes to penalties here, and we'll see whether they can do better this time than they did a year ago. A wonderful goal by Garnacho. In the end, wasn't enough to win the Shield for Manchester United. Well, he is the recognised penalty expert. Doesn't always take the first one in the shootouts.
Are we going to see a little hop, skip and a jump?
That is exactly what Ederson's thinking, I would imagine. So here we go. Shootout for the Community Shield. Bruno Fernandes sends Ederson the wrong way, and Manchester United are 1-0 up, 1 out of 1.
Yeah, fairly straightforward penalty from Bruno Fernandes. Just a slight delay, but just strokes it. It's not even in the corner. I think he must sense that Ederson was going one way and just passed it to the other side of him.
So it's the senior citizens who are coming forward. Certainly this one, Bernardo Silva again is... There's no one who's really established themselves as Manchester City's major penalty taker before Erling Haaland. And here goes the man who equalised, and it's a poor penalty. Well played, Onana, but the truth is it was made very easy for him. And as the header was as powerful and dynamic, that was just the opposite.
That looked very lacklustre, didn't it? Couple of paces, nice height for the goalkeeper, no real pace on it. He's frustrated with himself. That's a poor penalty.
It's shades of City at this stage last season. Marcus, who stepped up here? Diogo Dalot. Diogo Dalot is second on parade for Manchester United. And it gets in despite the best efforts from Ederson, who did well to reach it, hit with power.
It's a nice height for him, the goalkeeper. Chooses the right way. Oh, he should save it, I think. Once he makes, or gets both hands to it, I think he should keep that one out. Dalot gets a bit lucky there.
Kevin De Bruyne, who's only on the field for a few minutes, finds himself at a critical stage of the shootout for Manchester City. Onana's saved already from Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne does well, and City are on the board, 2-1.
Just egging Ederson along. Can you get us back into this game? Make a save for us. Little stop there, and then he knows that Onana's already gone that way, so he can just roll it into the other side. Good penalty.
So Garnacho, having seen the score of the City goal in regulation time miss, he needs to keep Manchester United's advantage here. He has the chance to keep Manchester United's advantage against Ederson, and tricks the goalkeeper. 3 out of 3 for the team in red.
And I think that's a really top-class penalty. Bit of whip on it. Hits the side netting as well. You don't get much better than that.
So, a man who has slotted home plenty of penalties since he joined Manchester City and before. But this won't go down in the record books as a Wembley goal, but he needs to score it nonetheless.
Well, he had a very poor game, Erling Haaland. Hardly involved. When he was involved, didn't get hold of the ball enough. I'm not overly confident he's going to score this one.
Onana waits, but he shows no doubts. So it is 3-2.
Onana saying, you know, play at that side. That's the way you're going to have to go, because I'm standing here. And then by the time he plays it, he's in the middle and moving across, so it's a fairly easy penalty for Haaland in the end.
In a game of bluff and double bluff, I don't think that was well played, really, by the Manchester United goalkeeper. Well, now Jadon Sancho to make a contribution. A bit of redemption for Sancho, of course, took a penalty here for England. And like then, he has failed from the spot. Ederson got to it. Frame of the goal did the rest. And Manchester City might just be back in business, Stuart.
Well, I think it's a shame for Sancho, a player that must be short on confidence at Manchester United. Again, it's a nice height for the goalkeeper. He gets that top hand to it and just about keeps it out, but it's not great news for Sancho. Well, here's a big moment for someone new at the club.
Savinho has the chance to level it up. Onana might not know much about his technique, and he can't keep it out. It's a very good penalty. Another twist to the drama here. In the 90 minutes, Ten Hag's side seemed to be moving towards victory. In the penalty shootout, Ten Hag's side have been moving towards seeming victory.
Yeah, good penalty, as you said. Side foot, accurate, enough pace on it. And all the good work that Casemiro did in the second half, can he continue it here?
Casemiro, he certainly can continue it. And the shootout moves in Manchester United's favour, but City, of course, have taken one less. Not right in the corner, but good enough.
You have to believe that when you hit it in that area, that the goalkeeper's going to go the other way.
Talking of goalkeeper, Stuart.
Well, I'd imagine he's going to smash this. It's one of the best strikers of ball I've seen.
He's taken the responsibility here, and he doesn't smash it, but he scores it. And the Goalkeepers Union, they were having a chat about that, I'm sure, afterwards. So here we are with 5 penalties each and 4 all on the board. Scott McTominay.
One of the many players that have been linked to a move away from Manchester United throughout the summer.
Here he goes. And Ederson went the right way, but there's too much power from the Scott McTominay.
Does he get hands to this? I think he might just, but can't keep it out. Good enough from McTominay.
Matheus Nunes has to score.
You always look at a player as he's coming up to take the penalty. I would suggest he doesn't look overly confident.
But then you didn't fancy Haaland.
No, true.
Here we go. We'll find out in a fraction of a second now as Nunes scores with a certain amount of aplomb.
I'd take it all back. What a penalty. There's no saving that because it's the height that beats the goalkeeper.
If you go high and keep it under the bar, you always score, really, but
It's
the
the
risk of going over the top. And here is Lisandro Martinez.
Had a difficult first half, playing at left back rather than his normal centre-back position. Went to centre-back when Maguire went off.
Shootout is level. But now Manchester United lead again and the pressure goes back on City. Cheeky penalty, really.
Yeah, just has that little hop into it, right in the corner.
Right into the side of the net. That's unreachable, really. So it's down to the captain, Ruben Dias.
Pep Guardiola turns away. Once it starts getting down to the centre halves.
Yeah, maybe he feels like you felt a couple of times. Dias has to score for Manchester City. And again, Pep Guardiola should show more faith, you think. A very calmly delivered shot.
And he gives the goalkeeper Ederson a big shout. Johnny Evans.
As you say, getting down to the central defenders. This time, the players that have been substituted are quite relieved that they're not standing in the centre circle, waiting a fateful moment. Can't recall seeing Johnny Evans take a penalty in his long career. We're 6-all in the shootout. He's missed.
Well, there's what you were talking about. Trying to keep it high, but under the crossbar. Was he trying to go down the middle? It's a half-hearted penalty, really. He's frustrated with himself. He tries to go down the middle and lift it over the keeper. It's a poor penalty.
And now Pep Guardiola is looking a little bit happier. He's got a bit of advice from Ederson to Manuel Akanji. Well, Manchester City were staring defeat in regulation time. Bernardo Silva scored. Then when Silva's penalty was saved, they were staring defeat in the shootout. But this to win the Community Shield, and they've done it. It's a measure of revenge for Manchester City for their FA Cup failure against United back in May. The prize perhaps not quite so glamorous, but after losing in this fixture for the last 3 years, City will be pleased to get their hands on this Community Shield. Stuart Robson.
Well, you can see what it means to Manchester City and the players. You can see what it means to Erik ten Hag. It was a good game, great preparation for the start of the season, but as I said in the commentary, if you think this is a friendly, you're wrong. This is a game that both sides want to win. It's very competitive, and we had a very good match.
And we had a very exciting shootout with saves and misses, twists and turns. But in the end, Pep Guardiola, the serial winner, has been a winner today. 7-6 on penalties after a 1-1 draw in the 90 minutes.